everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or a Hobbit's Reading List, and this week we are mainly going to focus on finishing up the books that I am in the process of reading. So I have two books that I had 3 books that I'm reading right now. Now it's at 2. And then I have one more book from my July TBR that I need to read, so we're going to try to knock that out this week. And then we'll be starting on August. So let's get into it. Okay, so today I had to go take my car to the shop to get like an oil change and everything. And I just wait there because it usually takes like an hour, and that's fine. I can just sit there. I brought Heart of Darkness with me because I only had 20 pages left. I had started listening to the audiobook for this earlier in the month, and it was putting me to sleep. And so I got to like the 3rd section, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop listening to the audiobook because not only was it putting me to sleep, I also just couldn't focus on it. And so I had to read like the Wikipedia summary to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that did happen. So I said I was going to read the 3rd part physically, but I wanted to do my 2 themed vlog ideas first. So yeah, so I picked it up again today. I went ahead and read the 20 pages. It took me like literally probably like an hour because it's very dense. Like there are a lot of words on the page, so it takes a while to like turn the page. For anyone who hasn't read Heart of Darkness, there is a movie that's inspired by it. It's not, as far as I know, like a perfect adaptation, but Apocalypse Now was inspired by Heart of Darkness, so you can check that out. I won't. I didn't like the book, so I know I'm not gonna like the movie. But Heart of Darkness is the recounting of this guy, Marlowe. He is sent to find this other guy, Kurtz, who is in Africa. I think it doesn't say where they are. Background information does, but at this point, I can't be bothered. They're in Africa. Kurtz is getting ivory, and Marlowe is sent to like reconnect with him and bring him back home, which I think is in Belgium. I'm pretty sure. So Marlowe is recounting this journey of like going to Africa and finding Kurtz and bringing him back. And there he sees, a lot of horrible things. This Heart of Darkness does have like a really interesting commentary on racism, which is good because there needed to be commentary on racism at that time. It was published in 1899, I believe. So there's that, but honestly, I can't tell you like what the actual message about racism is. I think it's that it's bad, which is great. But beyond that, I don't know because I couldn't focus on anything. I can tell you the bare bones of the plot, which I just did, and that there were bad things happening, which is like the most basic thing about the book. People aren't gonna believe that I read it. Honestly, I don't believe that I read it. I didn't absorb anything. Okay. So I'm just gonna say I gave it a 1.5 because my logic was like, by the time I got to the 3rd section, I'm like, well, I'm almost done. So, like, I could DNF it, but at this point, why would I? I'm literally, like, I had 20 pages left. Like, why would I DNF it? Oh, God, it's not that it's bad. I can't tell you if it's good or bad. It's dry. That's it. That's all I can tell you. It's dry, and I understand why it was my lowest rated classic, because that's how I ended up picking it to read, because that was the prompt. And I'm so mad that I have that prompt in there. That's where I'm at. I will be selling this copy of Heart of Darkness. I won't be keeping it. Oh, God. Okay. So besides that, I listened to 2 chapters from Electric Idol by Katee Roberts, which is a modern dark retelling of the Psyche and Eros myth from her Dark Olympus series, which I am really enjoying. Psyche and Eros, they're my favorite myth. They always have been ever since I was a teenager. And so I really like this like interpretation of it. It's really fun. I have like an hour and a half left of the audiobook. I know I'm going to cut most of it out, but I am yawning a lot because I just spent an hour reading Heart of Darkness. I'm not tired, but my brain thinks I'm tired, so I keep yawning. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I have an hour and a half left, so when I drive to work on Wednesday, I will finish it. I'll let you guys know. But otherwise, I'm just going to do stuff on my to-do list. And if I end up reading more, it will be to read His Pride and His Prejudice, which is an Omegaverse retelling of Pride and Prejudice by April Andrews. So it's Pride and Prejudice, but in addition to social classes, you get alphas and omegas. Which, honestly, love it. I love it. I'm so happy. Alright, I'm gonna stop yawning and get some caffeine. And then I'm gonna do stuff. Cool. Good morning, everyone. I'm back in the library. I'm about to film my TBR the day before it needs to go out because I'm chaotic. Okay, so the last thing I filmed was Monday after I finished Heart of Darkness. I have only read, well, I've read about 17% more of His Pride and His Prejudice. I'm really enjoying it still. We are getting to what I sort of consider like the turning point when the Lizzie character, Elliot, goes to Rosine's Park. So we're getting closer to that. And I consider it the turning point, but I don't think it's going to happen at the halfway. Well, it might happen at the halfway mark in this book. And so I'm still really curious if there's going to be, like, smut. Like, that's not the reason I'm reading this book. It's not the reason I like Pride and Prejudice. But I'm very interested. I'm very interested because it's Omegaverse. And so there should be smut. And there has been mention so far, like a couple times of both Elliot and Darcy having like bodily reactions to each other. And so I'm like, okay, that certainly wasn't Pride and Prejudice. So I have to assume there's going to be at least one smut scene, which I'm very much looking forward to. So, so that's where we are. I just wanted to film a really quick clip, get that out of the way, and I'm going to film my TBR. And then I have to eat breakfast, and then I have to like take a shower and get ready for work. And I have a very busy day, so I'm not quite sure if I'll be able to read more. I am going to finish listening to Electric Idol, and then part of the reason I wanted to film my TBR today is so that I know like what my book options are, so that I can pick an audiobook for the way home tonight. So that's the plan. I'm going to get set up and get this ball rolling. Okay, so I know there hasn't been a lot of B-roll, but the only thing I've been doing all week is watching Olympics, and my video on Tuesday was briefly blocked because of copyright because I had Olympics clips in it, even though it was muted. It was just the visual, but apparently that was enough. So I can't film the Olympics that I'm watching. It is Thursday. I just finished watching the women's gymnastics all-around final. Simone Biles and Sunisa Lee did awesome. They both medaled. It was a great time. But I am currently uploading footage for my TBR because I need to edit that today. So it's going to go up a little bit later than I wanted because I woke up late. But that's all right. It'll be up today. So, while this is transferring, I wanted to fill you in about what I've read so far. Yesterday, I did finish reading or listening to Electric Idol by Katee Robert. I really liked it, honestly. Like, I liked it better than Neon Gods, which was the first book, and it was Hades and Persephone. So I will probably continue with the series, because I'm interested in some pairings later on. I'm not, like, as into the pairing in the next book. Well, I guess, can you say it's a pair? I guess you can't. I can't say it's a pair. I'm not as into the relationship that is in the next one, because it's Helen, Achilles, and Patroclus. I never know how to pronounce his name. I really like him as a person, but I can never pronounce his name. Patroclus? Maybe it's Patroclus. I don't know. If anyone knows how to pronounce it, like, please tell me. I've heard it pronounced so many different ways. I just don't know how I'm going to feel about that one, but I do like Helen as a character in the series, so we'll see. Yeah, no, I really liked it. I thought it was really hot. I liked the emotional development. I got kind of a little bit tired of Eros being like, I'm a monster. Which, like, at first I appreciated, because I felt like it was a callback into, like, the original myth, where, like, Psyche is married to Eros but hasn't seen him, and so doesn't actually know who he is, and he visits her only at night, and so she still can't see him, and so she assumes that he's this terrible monster when he's not. So, like, at first I appreciated that, but, like, it got to be a little bit much. But I other than that, I would say that I enjoyed it. I felt like the pacing was a little weird towards the end, but it wasn't horrible. So I gave it 4 stars. I did really enjoy it. Like, those two things were just, like, kind of like pet peeves, but they weren't enough to, like, seriously detract. I'm having a really hard time talking. Yeah, so there's that. I don't remember what I've talked about with his Pride and His Prejudice, but I read 5% more yesterday on my phone in between meetings, which I was in back-to-back meetings all day, so, like, honestly, that's impressive. I don't know if I'll be reading more today, but I'll be definitely reading more tomorrow. I would like to have it done this weekend. One, because I'm still really curious about, like, just how smutty is it going to be for being a Pride and Prejudice, like, retelling, but I am really enjoying it, but also, like, I don't want to get super behind on my August TBR, just because, well, this vlog will have come out after the TBR. I have so many big books. I have 3 books that are, like, significant. And so I really can't afford to be, like, super behind on my TBR. And I need to finish this book before I can read Smith Journalist, which is from July, so, like, I'm already behind. So we'll see what I can do there. Other than that, I did start listening to a new audiobook last night. It's part of the reason I filmed my TBR yesterday. I should have done it, like, way earlier, but, like, I had to do it yesterday so that I knew, like, what audiobooks to listen to, and I started listening to Vanity Fair, which, for anyone who doesn't know, is very long. Like, if you look at my TBR video, the copy that I have, it's as, like, wide as, like, nearly as wide as my face. Like, it is so big. It's, like 950 pages or something, maybe more. Yeah, it's insane. The audiobook's 31 hours. At 1.25, it's 25 hours, which is still a lot. So, yeah. Anywho, so Vanity Fair is about 2 girls who went to school together. There's Amelia, who is very sweet, kind of naive, but everyone loves her. And then there is her friend Becky, and Amelia is pretty much the only person that Becky likes. Becky is super dry. She's very aware of her worth, which I can appreciate, but, like, in that time, which is, like, Regency, not cool. And she's very aware of how the world works. So they're very much foils for each other. And I listened to about an hour last night. And honestly, like, I actually liked it. Like, I only listened to an hour. I listened to 3%. But I did like it. So maybe this won't be as painful as I'm thinking. I hope. I don't know what I was expecting. Like, whether I was expecting something, like, super dry or, like, something, like, super flowery that I couldn't actually follow. But, like, it's not. Like, it's... I would... Again, I've only listened to an hour. I would put it somewhere in between, like, Jane Austen and Charles Dickens. He's wordy. But clear. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens. I will probably end up listening to, like, 3 hours tomorrow, and my opinion may change. But I will probably be listening to that for the rest of the month. So, yesterday, despite being super busy, was honestly a pretty good reading day, mainly because of audiobooks. But that is my update. I have to start editing. I have so many things I have to do today. And getting this TBR video up is the main one. So I'm gonna let you go, and then we will check in later, see if I actually read today or not. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this very quick because I'm already running late for work, but I don't want to forget. Yesterday, I read the rest of his Pride and Prejudice. So it's like 60% of the book. I will say, I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a very, like, faithful but still new retelling of Pride and Prejudice. And Pride and Prejudice is my favorite Jane Austen, which I don't think makes me special or anything, but I do enjoy reading retellings, and they also make me nervous. So I really like this, especially because the last retelling that I read was Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So, and for anyone who is interested in this book, because it is Omegaverse, be forewarned, there is no smut. It is definitely, like, more, I wouldn't even say sexual. It's more physical than the original Pride and Prejudice. There's some kissing, but that's it. And so, if you're like me and feel that Omegaverse is inherently a sexual trope, and read Omegaverse books expecting that, be forewarned, this is not that book. However, the author at the very end gave, like, a potential hint, maybe, of more books set in this universe. So I'd be very interested if there's a sequel in plans. But I did really enjoy it, so I gave it 4 stars. And yeah, no, I thought it was really good. I've been wanting, like, a queer Pride and Prejudice retelling, and so I think this, like, really satisfied that, like, very well. And I liked having both perspectives from Darcy and from Elliot, the Lizzie character. So yeah, I thought it was, like, I thought it was really well done. So now I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna listen to Vanity Fair, and then I really don't have that busy of a day, and I actually get done with work early, but I'm going to Temple tonight, so I'm just gonna sit around for a couple hours because it's just easier that way. So I have Quickies at work already, so I will probably try to read at least a chapter of that, and then I will start reading Smith Journalist, because that's the book I have to read next. So that's the plan for today. Yeah. All right. Let's go. So I was gonna say good morning, but I think it's technically afternoon. Okay, trying to think of what I've done. I filmed yesterday after I finished His Pride and His Prejudice. Okay, so I listened to another 3 hours of Vanity Fair. I'm so surprised at the fact that like I am actually enjoying it. I think I look at a big book and think like this is going to be so dry and boring. And that's not fair. Like just because something's big doesn't mean it's gonna be bad. So I am actually enjoying it. Let me think. So Becky stayed with Amelia's family for a while, tried to, ensnare Amelia's brother, but that didn't end up working. So Becky went to another family to be a governess, and she's learning from mistakes. She's ingratiating herself with not only the family but also the household staff. And so it's really interesting because Becky is an orphan. She doesn't have a family, so she has to make her own way, and at that time making her own way means finding someone who can take care of her financially through marriage. So that's her goal. That's what she's working on. Other than that, I started reading Quickies. I read about 35 pages. I only read the first chapter. So I'm going to try to read one chapter every day that I work, just so that I'm not like, I know myself, if I try to be like, okay, I'm just going to read this nonfiction book, and as soon as I finish reading it, I can move on to another book. That doesn't work for me because I read nonfiction so slow, and then I just end up getting discouraged. So, it's nonfiction. It's well written ish. And when I say well written, I mean like it is well written, but how like ingestible it is, it's like I'm hoping because it's an edited book, so each chapter is a different author. I'm hoping that some of the other chapters are more ingestible. And then I also started reading Smith Journalist. I read the first 2 chapters. Smith Journalist is going to be really hard for me to talk about because not only is it a Smith book, which means I'm already like disinclined to like it, but also the book that I read last month, The Prince and Betty, they're very, very similar. Like the plot for Smith Journalist is pretty much the same as the second half of The Prince and Betty, because of like publishing things that Woodhouse was like dealing with. So it's gonna be hard. It's the first 2 chapters were fine. Smith wasn't in them, but I know I'm gonna have way more of an issue when Smith does appear. So there's that. Other than that, not a lot I think to talk about. Chris and I are gonna go like hang out for a bit, and then he has to go to a party, which I probably won't end up going to just because I don't really know anyone. So that's about it. That's all I got. I feel like I read so much yesterday, and I did, but it's very easily condensed. So all right, I'm gonna go see what Chris and I are gonna get up to. Hi everyone, I'm going to wrap the vlog up really quickly. I did not really do much reading this weekend. I did listen to 2 more hours of Vanity Fair. Still interesting. There are times where it's like a little, I wouldn't say dry, but just like there are some times where due to my like energy levels, I'm not able to fully focus on it, because if I don't fully focus on it, I miss quite a bit, because it's surprisingly like it's a little fast paced, which is surprising for a novel that is 950 pages. But I'm enjoying it. Let's hope that continues. But other than that, I haven't read anything else, to be very honest, and I'm not in the best mood. It's been a very difficult day. And it's late in the day. Like usually I end the vlogs Monday morning. It's now Monday at like 7 p.m. I still didn't really read much today even. I read like 20 pages of The Haunting at Hill House, or The Haunting of Hill House, because I went swimming at Stephanie's and I didn't bring a physical book and my phone was about to die. So, but I won't be continuing it just because I wasn't like I'm not in that mood right now. So I'm not really going to do anything else tonight. So this isn't like the best ending for the vlog. Sorry about that. Hopefully next week will be better. So leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, all that good stuff. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.